Now, as an Arsenal fan, I don't really care about Spurs. In fact, if I cared any less about Spurs, my name would be Daniel Levy. However, what I am interested in is football boots, and Harry Kane has come back to Spurs preseason wearing a mystery pair of blackout football boots, and in this video we're going to find out what they are. So why is it so intriguing that Harry Kane has come back wearing black football boots? Well, when players of his stature wear blacked out football boots, especially with their marketability as well, it means one of two things. Number one, he's testing out a prototype of an upcoming football boot, or number two, his contract with his current brand is currently over and he's trying to renegotiate a deal with the brand, or he's looking at other brands as well. And Harry Kane has been a long-term wearer of Nike football boots. He's won the Vapor, he's won the CTR, he's won the Total 90, and he's been wearing the Phantom series since it came out in 2013. Now, Kane is no stranger to wearing blacked out Nike football boots, or prototypes of football boots should I say. He's done it in previous years with the Nike Phantom Venom before it was released, and he's also done it with the Nike Phantom GT before it was released as well. But I've got about 4 theories as to what this new mystery boot could be. So starting off with theory number 1, the boot could simply just be the next generation of the Nike Phantom GX. Like I said before, Kane's been a long-term wearer of the Phantom Silo, and he's been wearing the Phantom GX as of last season. Now, just looking closely at the photos of the boot itself, you can clearly see that it doesn't resemble anything like the Nike GX1, for example. So it wouldn't be the first time Nike have done it, but like since the Nike released the Phantom Lunar, I wouldn't be surprised if Nike kind of did an entire revamp and then re-identify the Phantom GX as a boot itself. See, Nike like to market the boots towards certain types of players, so you know, you got your pacey wingers in the Mercurials, and Nike always use players like Mbappe and Cristiano Ronaldo in the ads for those boots. Tiempo is kind of marketed more towards defenders. I don't necessarily believe that boots for positions is a thing, but that's how Nike kind of market their products. With the Phantom GX, you couldn't really put a like player to that boot, so you could see, if you just let me just look at the spine of Man City, you got Haaland in the GX, you got De Bruyne in the GX, you got Ruben Diaz in the DX, you had Roger in the DX, you know, so the boot didn't really have like any type of identity when it comes to the players that were wearing them. And of recent, we've seen Kevin De Bruyne actually wearing the new Phantom Lunar, so he's actually switched silos during this preseason. So I wouldn't be surprised that Nike kind of used the Lunar as a boot that's more towards maybe midfielders and creative players, and then kind of remarket the Phantom GX as a boot that's more towards attacking players, and hence such a drastic redesign of the boot. And theory 1 kind of leads into theory 2. Now, theory number 2, in my opinion, I think this could be a completely new football boot silo from Nike, and it's all to do with the Lunar. Like I said before, Nike like to market the boots to certain types of players, and with the introduction of the Lunar, and then putting Kevin De Bruyne, who's been like one of like the main wearers of Nike football boots over the last few years or so, into the Lunar, it kind of shows Nike's positioning in terms of marketing the football boot itself. Now, with the Phantom silo in the last maybe a few years or so, I think Nike, they've tried to do this kind of tandem thing. So they tried it before with the Phantom Vision and the Phantom Venom, and I think they're going to try to do it again with the Phantom Lunar. So this is me just spitballing here, just being a bit of a optimistic guess that Nike will be introducing a new silo called the Phantom Solar. But why Solar? And that's where the Phantom Lunar kind of comes in. Now, like I said, this is just a complete and utter educated guess. So Lunar has connotations of like the moon. I know the boost like, and the opposite of the moon, I guess you'd say would be the sun. So yeah, you get the Hypervenom Solar. And then another thing with the like new design of this boot, I feel like it's kind of inspired by a boot that came out almost exactly 10 years ago in the Hypervenom Phantom. So what a lot of people may have not noticed about Nike, they don't necessarily reuse technologies, but they'll like kind of design them to a more modern aesthetic. So they've done it with the last few of their boots as well. So for me, the Phantom GX, especially the dynamic fit version, looks a lot like the Phantom Vision. The Phantom Venom was very reminiscent of the Total 90 silo, and the Phantom Lunar looks a lot like the Medusa as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nike kind of, you know, use this new silo as a way to kind of, you can give it the name of like a 4th generation of the Hypervenom series. Now, another reason why I think this actually might be a new silo rather than the GX2 is because it's seemingly, just looking at the upper and the texture of the upper, it doesn't look like there's grip knit on it. So the Phantom Lunar in itself has grip knit, so for Nike to just suddenly throw away grip knit after just recently like introducing it would be a bit weird. So I'm kind of leaning more towards it being a new silo in itself rather than it being the GX2. And another thing that kind of backs it up is the sole plate. You can actually look at the sole plate and the stud pattern, even though it is the SG version that Kane is wearing in the photos during preseason, it looks very aggressive. Those are chevron shaped studs, so that kind of pointed to be more of a built towards speed and more towards attackers. Now, theory number 3, I actually put a poll on YouTube to see what you guys thought was the most probable one, and everyone thought, or should I say not everyone, but the most probable one was that this boot that Kane is wearing is the next generation of the Nike Mercurial Vapor. And just looking at the boot, you can actually say, yeah, this actually might be the actual correct answer for this one. Kane actually switching from the Phantom Silo to the Vapor is, for me, quite odd. But I don't know what Nike's direction is going to be going forward with that. But if you just look at the construction of the boot itself, you can definitely say that it is very Vapor-esque. So just looking at the upper, for example, this kind of wavy lines, very synonymous with the first generation of the Mercurial that came out in '98. And we've seen kind of like this kind of wavy pattern on the Mercurial and Vapor in like the early years as well. And on top of that, you kind of see these dots on the upper. And the Mercurial over the years has always had like some kind of maybe micro texturing to like Hans grip while you're dribbling with the ball. Another key indicator that this boot could actually be the Vapor 16 is the lacing system and the sole plate. So looking at the lacing system, the Mercurial is synonymous. Well, the last few generations have always had this kind of like straight down the middle lacing system. The other boots tend to have like some kind of asymmetric kind of system. Well, the Vapor here is just laid out straight down the middle. So yeah, it could be, or that kind of alludes it to being the next generation of the Mercurial. And then yeah, again with the stud pattern, it looks very, very aggressive with all the chevron shaped studs. And just looking at the stud pattern here, you can actually see that the chevron shaped studs are in the same place as they would be on the Vapor 13, 12 and 14. I don't know why I've gone in that random order, but you get the point. Well, what I really can't tell is if they are still gonna use air zoom technology in this boot or not. It'd be weird for them to just introduce either the last silo or the last model, should I say, and then get rid of it in the next one. But Nike have done crazier things before. And then it could be a possibility that this could be Nike reintroducing carbon fiber into the football boots. So we can only wait and see what actually comes out. Now, my fourth and final theory, now this is probably going to be like the most far-fetched of all of them and a bit maybe on the kind of crazy side with this one. Like I said before at the start of the video, sometimes players will wear black tie football boots because they're renegotiating their contract with the brand, or they're negotiating with other brands and they have to kind of fulfill this kind of clause in their contract. So there is the possibility that he's actually just wearing a black tie version of a boot from a different brand. Now, there are a few clues as to which brand it could be, and two in particular come to mind. So number one, there are some kind of clues out there. So just looking at the construction of the boot, the chevron shaped studs, the two-tone chevron shaped studs as well, it's not something that we technically or usually see with the Mercurial from what I can actually remember. I feel like maybe I could be wrong, like the Mercurials with the kind of similar stud pattern as the ones I explained before, they're not necessarily two-tone, but you have like the main colorway and then it's like kind of like this kind of translucent clear color. I could be wrong. Yeah, so I'm not too sure. Maybe it's a new change that they would make for the Vapor 16, but it could also be that this is a boot from a different brand completely. And then if you look at the heel of the boot as well, you can see it's kind of got this like sock liner with this knitted material, which looks a lot like the New Balance Furon. Now, Harry Kane, he does a few marketing stuff, and then he's got this kind of huge interest in American sports as well, namely American football. Well, he recently did, should I say, a episode of Hot Ones. Now, I did a bit of googling and I googled where Hot Ones is filmed, and it's either filmed in LA or New York. Now, there's a neighboring state on the East Coast where a certain brand have their headquarters, which is New Balance, and their headquarters are in Boston, Massachusetts. So, going from New York to Boston, I don't think is too much of a big deal. I don't know if that's anything to go off, like you've seen like the two bits of construction on the boot with the two-tone studs of the chevron studs, and then the kind of sock liner area. I don't know, maybe, a short trip from New York to Boston to finally sign a deal with New Balance could have been a possibility. Or it could actually be Under Armour for all I know. know. Now, the one thing that actually makes me doubt that it is any of those brands is because of the studs that they use on this version that Kane is wearing. So Kane is wearing the SG version, as you can see from the pictures, and if you look at the metal studs on the SG versions of the Furon, they have this kind of circular dome shape to them with like the indents on the studs, whereas if you actually look on most SG Pro versions of Nike football boots, you have the kind of hexagonal base of the studs. And the only other brand I've seen actually have this as well that I actually can remember from the top of my head is Puma. Yeah, but that being said, I guess it's not really out there. There's a possibility that New Balance kind of changed the next generation of the Furon to have like that hexagonal base to have different studs. But you know, it could also point towards that this is definitely going to be a Nike football boot in the future. But let me know which theory you believe is correct in the comments. Is it the one where it's the new GX? Is it a new silo completely? Is it the Vapor 16? Or is Kane signed with another brand completely? Let me know what you think in the comments. And like always, if you thought the video was sublime, like the video. If you thought it was subpar, please still like the video. Comment down below why it was subpar as well. I'm always looking to improve my videos. And most of all, please subscribe to the channel if you're interested in everything football boots, football kit and football gear. I'm your man, so please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all my socials. I'm on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram and TikTok. And once again, my name is Sub. This has been SubStanceFtbl. Thank you for watching. Peace out.